Alright, in this video we are going to learn how to convert from degrees over to degrees, minutes, and seconds. Just another format. And we're going to learn how to go the other way as well. This is DMS format, also known as degrees, minutes, and seconds. We're going to take that format and learn how to convert it into simply degrees written as a decimal form. Now, when we talk about degrees, minutes, and seconds, here's what you need to know. 1 degree is equal to 60 minutes. Okay, and I know we're talking about minutes and seconds, and you're thinking, what does time have to do with angle measurements? But we're not talking about time in this context. Minutes in this context means something completely different, and it simply means 1/60th of a degree. All right, it's a smaller portion of a degree. So also 1 minute can be further divided into 60 seconds. Okay, and if I wanted to go directly from degrees to seconds, I could say that 1 degree is equal to 3,600 seconds. Okay, that's 60 times 60. Alright, so keep that in the back of your mind. Now, a little bit about the notation. Alright, you're familiar with this 1 degree. Alright, with the little circle means degrees. So equals 60 minutes. Minutes are represented by an apostrophe, sort of like the way we do feet. So it's all very confusing because we got minutes, and then we got like the symbol for feet, and it all has to do with degrees. So it's like we're mixing up all the units that we've ever learned about. Anyway, so similarly, I could say, almost wrote 60 again. 1 minute, and again I'll use that apostrophe for 1 minute, is equal to 60 seconds. Okay, and for seconds we use 2 apostrophes, or it's almost like a quote, like when you quote something. Alright, in fact, when I'm typing, I use the quote on my calculator. So if I wanted to do this last one, I could say that 1 degree is equal to 3,600 seconds. Alright, so I just wanted to show you that notation with the apostrophes. Alright, so for problem number 1, we are supposed to convert this decimal degree into degrees, minutes, and seconds. Well, here's what you need to understand. When you see 16.75 degrees, that's the same thing as 16 degrees plus 0.75 degrees. Alright, so we already have the degree part of degrees, minutes, and seconds. It's 16 degrees. So all we really need are the minutes and seconds, and those are going to come from the 0.75. Okay, so far maybe I'll just start to write my final answer down here, and this is called DMS notation. So for the degrees, we have 16 degrees. Now let's find the minutes and seconds. Alright, but first back to the black screen for a second. Let me see if I can get you to understand a basic thing. I told you that 1 degree is equal to 60 minutes. Okay? So what if I had 2 degrees? Alright, how many minutes would that be? Well, you know, 2 degrees, if each minute is, if each degree is 60 minutes, then that means 2 degrees is 2 60s. It's like 60 and 60. minutes. All right, so you know that would be 120 minutes. Okay, so basically what did I just do? If I wanted to go from degrees to minutes, I just multiplied by 60. All right, because 2 degrees is 2 60s worth of minutes. Okay, so anyway, if I want to convert from degrees into minutes, I'm going to multiply by 60. So let's go back and apply that to our actual problem. Change my mind. Let me do one more example first. What if I had some sort of a decimal? So say if I had 0.25 degrees and I wanted to convert that into minutes. I just said that if I want to convert from degrees into minutes, I can multiply by 60. So I just want to make it clear that that works even with decimals. So if I multiply this by 60, so it would be helpful to have a calculator. So 0.25 times 60, all right, that's 15. So that means that 0.25 degrees is the same thing as 15 minutes. Okay, so it works fine with decimals. Now, so this 0.75 that I have right here, if I take that 0.75, okay, if I want to convert that into minutes, because right now this is degrees, then just like I showed you before, all I need to do is multiply this by 60. Alright, so if I multiply this by 60, that's going to give me minutes. So let's see, 0.75 times 60, alright, that's going to give me 45 minutes. So that's 45 minutes. Okay, and you know what, that came out exact. So I think that's going to be the end of this problem. All right, it's 16 degrees, 45 minutes. All right, if this had been some sort of a decimal, I would have broken up further into the seconds. But for this one, that's the final answer. Okay, so 16.75 degrees. Oh, I almost forgot the negative sign. All right, you know, it starts off negative, it'll still be negative. So 16.75 degrees is the same thing as 16 degrees 45 minutes. Okay, let's look at the next one. So number 2, the when you have negative 183.47 degrees, that's the same thing as negative 183. Well, you know what? I'm going to ignore the negative sign for a second. And we know the final answer is going to be negative. So for now, just ignore the negative sign. So 183.47 degrees is the same thing as 183 degrees plus 0.47 degrees. Okay, so in our final answer, we want degrees, minutes, and seconds. So it looks like so far we have the degree part. So we have 183 degrees. Now we just need minutes and seconds. Alright, the minutes and seconds will come from the decimal portion right here. So let's take that off to the side and work on it. So look, if I have 0.47 degrees, if I want to convert that to minutes, which is what I want next, then I am going to multiply that by 60. Okay, and if I do, that's going to give me, well, I don't know. Alright, 0.47 times 60, that's 28.2. Okay, so what I have now is 28.2, and now I've converted this now to minutes. Alright, now I don't want any decimals right now, so I'm going to have to break this up further. So here's the deal. What that means is that my 0.47 degrees is the same thing as, I said 28.2 minutes. Well, that's the same thing as 28 minutes plus 0.2 minutes. I'm just splitting that up. So there I've got my minutes now. So I've got my 28 minutes. Alright, so what I need now are the seconds. So guess what? The seconds are going to come from this 0.2 right here. So let's work on that. I'm running out of colors. Okay, so let's take this 0.2 minutes, which is all I have left over, and convert that to seconds. So remember, it's the same type of deal when you're going to a smaller unit here. You know, 1 degree was 60 minutes. Well, guess what? 1 minute is 60 seconds. So it's going to be the same deal. If I want to go from minutes to seconds, I'm still going to multiply by 60. Alright, so if I multiply this by 60, then I should have seconds. Okay, and you could probably do this in your head. Alright, 0.2 times, missed it, 0.2 times 60, alright, is 12. Alright, so that's going to be 12. Now I have seconds. And there are no decimals even, so I am really done. So this is 12 seconds. Alright, so this is the final answer in degrees, minutes, and seconds. Don't forget that negative sign that I ignored at the beginning. So negative 183.47 degrees is the same thing as negative 183 degrees, 28 minutes, 12 seconds. Alright, let's do one more of these. Let's convert 27.465 degrees. And again, ultimately, we will want to have this in the format of degrees. Let's see. Trying to get a color scheme going. Degrees, minutes, and seconds. Okay, the DMS format, degrees, minutes, and seconds. I'm going to try to color coordinate this one a little bit. Now, first, we're given degrees. So we have to understand that 27.465 degrees is the same thing as having 27 degrees plus 0.465 degrees. So that whole number, degrees, that's our degrees that we'll use for our final answer here. So, so we've got 27 whole degrees. Now this fractional portion of a degree, we can convert into minutes and seconds. So that's what we're going to do next off to the side. Alright, so let's take our 0.465 degrees and we will convert that to minutes if we multiply it by 60. Okay, so if I go 0.465 times 60, alright, that's 27.9. So that means I have 27.9. Whoa, I am crazy. 27.9 minutes now. Now understand that that is 27 minutes plus 0.9 minutes. Alright, so this whole number amount of minutes, that's what we need for our final answer. So here comes our 27 minutes. So 27 degrees, 27 minutes. That's just a coincidence. Okay. So what we have left over is the 0.9 minutes. So what we can do now is take that 0.9 minutes and break it down further into seconds. So I will take my 0.9 minutes. And if I take minutes and multiply by 60, then that should give me seconds. Okay, so 0.9 times 60 is 54. So that's going to be 54 seconds. All right, and it comes out nicely as a whole number, and that is what we need to finish off our seconds. So that is going to be our final answer. Okay, now let's learn how to go the other way. So if you're given a number, a degree measurement, but it's given in the notation of degrees, minutes, and seconds. It's given to us in DMS format. Let's learn how to convert this to just a pure degrees in decimal form, nearest thousandth. And it's really quite simple. The 23 degrees, that's going to be our whole number part. So we're going to hang on to that for our final answer. So we will have 23, all right, point something. Next, we need to convert 14 minutes into degrees. Well, look, if we wanted to convert degrees into minutes, we multiply it by 60. So guess what? If I want to convert minutes to degrees, I'm going to divide by 60. Okay, so what did I say? We had 14 minutes. So look, if I have 14 minutes, if I take that and I divide, let me not do that. If I take that and I divide by 60, that should give me degrees. So let's see, 14 divided by 60. Okay, so I get 0.23 repeating. But for our purposes, it will be more helpful to view this as a fraction. So let's toggle that up. So that's 7/30ths. Okay, so far I've got 7/30ths. And now this will be in degrees. Okay, so that means when I look back at this original format, I could view this as a sum of these three different parts. So I started off with my 23 degrees, but now I know that it's 23 plus. All right, and now it's time for the 14 minutes, which we just saw that that's the same thing as 7/30 degrees. All right, because we're just converting everything into degrees. So I have 7/30 degrees. All right, that just leaves the 30 seconds. So let's convert that into degrees also. Okay, well look, if we have 30 seconds, now, there's two ways you can think about this. We know that 1 degree is equal to 3,600 seconds. So one thing that you could do if you want to convert seconds to degrees, you can divide by 3,600. Alright, so we could go 30, and this time I think I'll go straight into fraction mode. 30 over 3,600. Alright, so that's 1/120th. And now they're all in degrees. Now real quick before I get the final answer, if you weren't comfortable with the dividing by 3,600 thing, you can think of it in two steps. As we go to the smaller units, we are multiplying by 60. So When we converted from degrees into minutes, we multiplied by 60. As we converted from minutes into seconds, we multiplied by 60. So when we're going from smaller units to larger units, we're dividing by 60. So that's why, like we did right here, we were going from minutes to degrees. So as you go from minutes to degrees, you divide by 60. And if you went from seconds to minutes, you would also divide by 60. So what we have here at the end of this problem, we have to deal with 30 seconds. So we're starting with seconds. So if I have 30 seconds, if I divide by 60 one time, that's going to give me minutes. Now if I divide by 60 a second time, then that should give me degrees. So if you weren't comfortable, or if you think you might forget about the 3,600, you can just think of it as, okay, I have to go from seconds all the way to degrees, so I basically need to divide by 60 twice to make that happen. So you could think of it this way. So if I had my 30, so I'm going to divide by 60, and I'm going to divide by 60 again. Okay, and then toggle it, and then there you go. So anyway, to get the final answer, now that we have all these lovely fractions all in degrees, just add them up. So we already know it's the whole number part is 23 point something. So really we just need to do 7/30ths plus 1/20th. I meant 1/120th. Okay, and this time we want the decimal. So here's the decimal part, 0.2416. Now, what did we want to round to? Nearest thousandth, so that means 3 decimal places. Okay, so 0.242 got to round up. Okay. Alright, so let's do 2 more examples, but this time I'm going to do them much more quickly. So, 233 degrees. We want it all in degrees instead of degrees, minutes, and seconds. So, we know we're going to have 233 point something because of that. Now, to convert our minutes into degrees, we're going to simply divide by 60. Okay, so it's going to be like this. Let's stay in fraction mode. So 25 over 60. So that's going to be 5/12ths. Okay, so basically we have 233, that's our whole number part, plus 5/12ths. And now to convert 15 seconds into degrees, what we're going to do is we're going to divide by 60 twice. Now dividing by 60 twice is the same thing as dividing by 3,600. Okay, it's 60, it's like dividing by 60 times 60. Alright, that's where the 3,600 is coming from. Alright, so I'm just going to do 15 over 3,600. Alright, and that's 1/240th. Okay, and this is all degrees now. So let's just add it up. We don't need to bother with the 233, already got that. So we'll just do 5/12ths plus 1/240th. Alright, we'll need the decimal form. We want the nearest thousandth, 3 decimal places. So this will round to 0.421. Got to round up. Okay, one more. See if we can do it even faster. So we have the degree part right there. So we know we're going to have negative 405 point something because of that. To convert the 16 minutes into degrees, I'm going to divide by 60. To convert the 18 seconds into degrees, I'm going to divide by 3,600. Alright, that's 60 times 60. Okay, so let's do both of those things. So 16 over 60. Okay, that's 4/15. I'll worry about the negative sign at the end. And 18 over 3,600. That's 1/200th. Okay, so let's just add these up, and that will give us our decimal part. So 4/15 plus 1/200th. Okay, so that'll be 0.272 because we have to round up. Alright, that's the end of this video. I hope it was helpful. I will see you on the next video.